Chosen one, you are not broke, you are bent. And those are not the same thing. Broke is a financial condition. Bent is a posture. Bent is the way a person carries themselves when they have spent so long operating under the weight of scarcity that the weight has become invisible, absorbed into the spine, built into the shoulders, written into the way they think about money before a single number has even appeared on the page. You have been carrying the blueprint of $1 million assignment in a mind that was shaped by the posture of poverty. And the reason the assignment has not yet fully materialized is not because God withheld it. It is because you have been trying to receive something enormous through a framework that was never built to hold it. Today, that framework gets demolished. Today, heaven issues the eviction order. Poverty thinking does not get to live in the mind of a chosen one for one more day. Welcome to Chosen Wealth Wisdom. The chosen one was never designed to think small, and today is the day the smallness gets expelled. Before we go any further, here is what I need from you right now. If you are tired, genuinely, bone-deep tired of counting every dollar before it arrives, of making every decision from a place of fear rather than faith, of watching your dreams stay exactly the same size year after year because the ceiling of your thinking keeps them compressed, type the word evicted in the comments right now, not as a wish, as a legal declaration that you are signing the eviction order on poverty thinking today. Drop it right now. And subscribe to Chosen Wealth Wisdom before this video is over, because what I am building on this channel is a full curriculum for the financial transformation of chosen ones, and you do not want to miss a single piece of what is coming. Now let us go all the way into this. 3 days ago, something happened in your mind that you may not have had language for in the moment. You were in an ordinary situation, maybe reviewing your finances, maybe watching someone else operate at a level you know you are capable of, maybe simply sitting in the silence of an unremarkable moment, and a feeling came over you that was unfamiliar and strangely powerful. It was not motivation, it was not inspiration, it was closer to disgust, a deep, visceral, almost physical revulsion toward the smallness of the thoughts that had been running your financial life. A sudden, sharp awareness that the way you had been thinking about money, the scarcity calculations, the fearful projections, the constant quiet assumption that there is never quite enough, felt foreign, wrong, like a piece of clothing that had never actually fit you, but that you had worn so long you forgot it was not yours. That was not arrogance, that was your spirit, recognizing a foreign object. That was the part of you that carries the divine assignment, refusing any longer to coexist peacefully with a mindset that was never compatible with that assignment. That moment of revulsion was heaven's invitation to the eviction, and you are here today because something in you responded to the invitation. Now, let me give you the Hebrew word that will change everything about how you understand what has been holding you back. Because I need this to move from a feeling into a theology, from something you sense into something you know that you can stand on permanently. The word is reish, spelled R-E-I-S-H, and the depth of this word will take your breath away once you see it fully. In Hebrew, reish is the 20th letter of the alphabet, and its primary meaning is head, beginning, leadership, the thing that comes first and directs everything that follows. The word rosh, which means head or beginning, and appears in the very first verse of Genesis, is built from the same root. When you hear Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, the new beginning, you are hearing the word that shares its foundation with Reish. But here is where it gets extraordinary. The ancient rabbis observed that the letter Rish, in its written form, depicts a specific physical posture. Look at the shape of the letter. It is a figure, with its head bowed, shoulders forward, gaze directed downward, spine curved under the weight of something invisible. And from this posture comes a second meaning of Reish, one that sits in direct tension with the first. Reish also means poor. Not poor in the sense of a bank balance, poor in the sense of a posture, poor in the sense of a person who has bent themselves under the assumption of scarcity until the bend has become their default position. A person who carries the weight of lack, not just in their finances, but in their bearing, their expectations, their imagination of what is possible for someone like them. This is what the ancient wisdom is showing us. The same letter that means head also means poor, because poverty is ultimately not a financial condition. It is a failure to stand in the identity of one who leads rather than one who lacks. It is the head bowed when the head was designed to be lifted. It is the rosh reduced to resh by the accumulated weight of fear-based thinking. And the opposite of resh is osher. In Hebrew, osher means wealth, but not merely financial wealth. Osher carries the weight of completeness, of a life operating at full capacity, of a person whose resources match their assignment. And the three letters that spell osher, ayin, shin, resh, can be rearranged to spell sha'ar, which means gateway, door, threshold. The wealth of osher is not a destination you arrive at. It is a door you walk through. And the door opens from the inside, from the quality of the mind that approaches it. The poverty mindset is resh. The wealth mindset is the door of osher, and the distance between them is not years of financial accumulation. The distance between them is a decision about which posture you will carry going forward. God did not create you for resh. He created you to walk through the shar, the gateway of osher, and to operate in the unlimited flow of abundance that a chosen steward was always designed to carry. The question is not whether the door exists. The question is whether you will straighten your spine, lift your head, and walk through it. Now, let me show you what heaven observed in you that confirmed you are ready for this upgrade. Because the eviction of poverty thinking does not happen to people who have not yet been examined. It happens to people who have already passed the tests that qualify them for the new mindset. And you have passed more of them than you realize. The first thing heaven observed was your generosity of spirit when your account balance gave you no logical reason to be generous. There were moments, specific, real, unremarkable moments that no one else saw when you were at your own financial low point and someone around you had a need. And instead of calculating what you could not afford, something in you moved toward meeting that need anyway, not because you had surplus, because you had character. You helped with a smile when complaining would have been completely understandable. You gave time, attention, encouragement, or resources from a place that your bank balance said was empty because you had already decided, at a level below conscious financial calculation, that your capacity to give was not determined by the current number in your account. Do you understand what that demonstrated? It demonstrated that you already know, at the level of actual behavior, that your source is not the account, that the God who supplies your generosity is not limited by the temporary condition of your balance, that you can operate in the spirit of abundance even when the natural realm has not yet caught up. That is not a small insight. That is the foundational truth of kingdom economics, lived out in the quiet, unwitnessed moments of your real life. And heaven has the full record of every one of those moments. The second thing heaven observed was your refusal to beg. In your most financially difficult season, in the moments when asking for sympathy, for pity, for the charity of the people around you would have been the easiest and most immediately available option, you made a different choice. You chose to keep your dignity intact. You chose to take your need to God rather than to the sympathy economy of human approval. You chose to trust the provision of heaven over the charity of the world, not out of pride, not out of stubbornness, out of a quiet, settled, deeply rooted understanding that you were not built to be defined by your need, that your identity was not a function of your current financial condition. And this is the part I need you to sit with. A person who begs is not wrong for needing. Begging becomes a problem when it becomes an identity, when the posture of lack becomes so natural that a person stops being able to imagine themselves in any other position. The chosen one, in their hardest season, does not stop needing. They simply refuse to let the need dictate their posture. They present themselves to God as a steward waiting for the next assignment rather than a beggar waiting for the next handout. That distinction, invisible to everyone around you, fully visible to heaven, is the distinction between resh as a circumstance and resh as a permanent identity. You refused the permanent identity. You held the posture of a person who knew the supply was coming even when it had not yet arrived. And that refusal, that quiet, daily, costly act of standing upright when everything around you invited you to bow, is the single most important qualification on your record for the season that is now beginning. The reason the eviction order is being issued today is that you have already been living as if the eviction was complete. Heaven is simply making official what your character has been demonstrating for months. Now, let me give you 5 reasons why poverty thinking is not just unhelpful for you going forward. It is illegal, spiritually, covenantally, and constitutionally incompatible with who you are and what you carry. The first reason is identity conflict. You are a child of the God who owns everything. Every resource on earth, every stream of supply, every channel of provision, owned entirely by the Father, you have direct access to. And to live in the mental posture of scarcity as a child of that Father is a direct contradiction of your spiritual DNA. It is like the heir of an infinite kingdom walking around calculating whether they can afford a meal. The calculation itself is the problem, not because the difficulty is not real, but because the identity that produces the calculation is wrong. The second reason is the law of alignment. The million-dollar ideas, the strategic partnerships, the unexpected streams of provision that are assigned to your name. These are high-frequency realities, and high-frequency realities cannot land in a low-frequency mind. A mind operating in fear, scarcity, and the constant mental rehearsal of what is lacking is running at a frequency that cannot receive what abundance is trying to deliver. The runway of your mind has to be cleared of fear before the supply plane can land. The alignment is not mystical, it is structural. The thoughts you hold determine what you are able to perceive, and a mind structured around lack will not perceive the opportunities that a mind structured around abundance registers immediately. The third reason is stewardship accountability. God will not place $10 million in the hands of someone who still treats $10 like the last resource in the universe, not because he is withholding as punishment, but because the evidence of how you handle $10 is the only available data about how you will handle 10 million. A person who handles small amounts with fear, with hoarding, with the tight-fisted calculation of someone who does not trust the next supply to arrive, that person has demonstrated a stewardship pattern that larger amounts would amplify rather than resolve. The upgrade in resources has to follow the upgrade in stewardship posture. Today is the day the posture changes, which means the resources can follow. The fourth reason is influence alignment. The Boaz connections, the strategic partners, the covenant relationships, the people whose assignment intersects with yours in ways that produce significant financial momentum. These people are drawn to a specific frequency, the frequency of someone who operates from abundance in their spirit, even when the external circumstances have not fully caught up. That frequency is magnetic to the right people and repellent to the wrong ones. A mind still operating in poverty thinking is running the exact frequency that pushes the Boaz connections away before they can find you. The upgrade in mindset is not just a personal benefit. It is a relational realignment that changes who is able to enter your life and stay. The fifth reason is generational authority. The ceiling of your thinking is the floor of your children's inheritance. The mindset pattern you carry is not just personal, it is the framework that the next generation inherits as their starting point. A chosen one who breaks the poverty mindset does not just change their own financial trajectory, they break a generational pattern and establish a new one that their children and their children's children will begin from rather than have to fight through. The decision you make today about how you think is a generational decision. The eviction of poverty thinking from your mind is the eviction of it from your bloodline. That is the full weight of what is being done in this moment. Now let me speak directly about the warfare operating against you in this specific transition, because the enemy has a precise and carefully constructed argument that he deploys specifically against chosen ones who are stepping into financial abundance. And if you do not see it clearly, it will undermine everything this message is trying to establish. His argument is this: wanting wealth is ungodly. Desiring financial abundance is a form of spiritual greed. The truly holy person is the one who lives in simplicity, who does not pursue material things. And every time you feel the legitimate, God-given desire to operate at a level of financial abundance that matches your assignment, the enemy will whisper that the desire itself is the sin. This is the biggest lie in the arsenal of darkness, and it is so effective because it weaponizes the language of spirituality against the very people who care most about being spiritually faithful. Here is the truth: poverty is not holiness. The most powerful builders of God's kingdom in Scripture, Abraham, Joseph, Solomon, Lydia, were people of significant material wealth who used that wealth as a tool for the expansion of something greater than themselves. God's issue is never with the wealth. God's issue is with the heart that makes wealth the master rather than the tool. And the chosen one who carries wealth as a steward, who understands that abundance is not for consumption but for kingdom impact, is exactly the kind of person God has been equipping through every hard season they have survived. You are not pursuing wealth because you are greedy. You are pursuing the financial capacity to fulfill the assignment that God placed on your life before you were born. That is not sin. That is obedience. And the enemy's attempt to shame you out of your financial destiny by calling your calling carnality stops here, today, at this declaration. Say this out loud right now: I am not a victim of the economy. I am a builder of my own economy under the governance of God. Poverty thinking is evicted from my mind permanently. Scarcity has no residential rights in my spirit. I think like an owner, not a borrower. I operate like a steward, not a slave. And the abundance that was always assigned to my name is flowing toward me right now without obstruction. Say it again, louder. Let the declaration move from your mouth into your bones. Now, receive the final activation. In the next 24 hours, you are going to feel something shift in your physical posture, not metaphorically, literally. You will notice that you are standing differently, shoulders back rather than forward, head lifted rather than bowed, chest open rather than closed. The Hebrew word for this is kavod, which means both glory and weight. The glory of God has a physical weight that straightens the spine of the person who carries it. The rish, the bent posture of poverty thinking, is being replaced in your body by the kavod of your true identity. When you feel your posture shift, receive it as the physical confirmation of the spiritual eviction that has just taken place. Place your hand on the top of your head right now. This is the place of the crown, the seat of the mindset that governs everything below it. And as your hand rests there, say these words out loud: I cancel every license that poverty thinking held over my mind. I revoke every agreement I made with scarcity, with fear, with the belief that I must fight for limited resources. I receive the mind of the chosen steward, the Osher mind, the Sha'ar mind, the mind that walks through the gateway of abundance without hesitation. I think at the level of my assignment from this day forward. I see opportunities where I used to see obstacles. I see supply where I used to see shortage. I walk in power, in wisdom, and in the overflow of a kingdom that has no ceiling. Amen. Receive this decree over your mind and your financial life. I declare that the fog of scarcity thinking has lifted from your mind permanently. The rish posture, the bowed head, the bent spine, the calculating fear of the person who believes resources are always about to run out, is evicted. And in its place, the Osher is flowing, the Sha'ar is open, The gateway of wealth that was always available to a steward with a kingdom mind is standing wide open in front of you right now. I declare that the five-fold illegality of poverty thinking in your life is resolved as of this declaration. The identity conflict is resolved. You are the child of the God who owns everything, and your mind will now reflect that identity. The alignment is restored. Your frequency matches your destination. The stewardship pattern is upgraded. You handle every amount with the wisdom of someone trusted with abundance. The Boaz connections are being drawn to your new frequency, and the generational ceiling is broken permanently, for you and for every generation that follows you. I declare that the hidden treasures assigned to your name, the ideas, the opportunities, the strategies, the streams of supply that were always there, but invisible to a fear-filtered mind, are now fully visible to the mind that has been cleared. You will see what you could not see before, not because the opportunities were not there, because the mind filtered through Rish could not perceive them. The filter is gone, the Sha'ar is open, and what you see from this day forward will change everything about what you build. I declare that the posture of Kavod, the straightened spine, the lifted head, the open chest of a chosen steward who knows their source, is your permanent physical identity from this moment forward. Every room you walk into, every conversation you have, every financial decision you make from today will be made from the posture of the Osha mind rather than the Rish posture. And the world will respond to that posture in ways that will confirm, again and again, that the eviction was real, the upgrade was permanent, and the Sha'ar was always yours to walk through. Like this video right now as your signature on the eviction order. The official declaration that poverty thinking's lease on your mind has expired and will not be renewed. Subscribe to Chosen Wealth Wisdom so that every piece of instruction for the chosen steward finds you the moment it is released. This channel is building a complete financial transformation curriculum, and the next word released will be built specifically for the mind that just received this one. Drop a comment right now and complete this sentence. With an abundance mindset, the first thing I will build is I am reading every one. I am praying over every name. The eviction is complete. The Osha is flowing. The Sha'ar is open. Walk through it, chosen one. Well done. Well done.